a full-time job
Yeah.
to pay bills.
Yeah, I feel that.
So it was tough, man. Like I was working 30 plus hours, also trying to be a full-time student and then have the college experience, have fun and all that stuff. And balancing all of that was difficult.
Oh, yeah.
I finally went and saw a psychiatrist. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. I was put on medication for depression, and I started seeing a therapist for the first time ever. And that was a whole new experience for me. It wasn't easy at all.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted you to share a little. It's obvious that you're passionate about mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Where did this passion come from, and why are you investing so much of your time, energy, and efforts into this?
So my family, a lot of them struggle with mental health disorders. It's sort of more of like an epigenetic, like chronic thing for a lot of them. Like my mother, my uncle, my grandfather, on both paternal and maternal sides, they all suffer from anxiety and like chronic depression as well, like major depressive disorder. And you know, they've always struggled so much, and like some of that like came on to me like in high school. I thought that if I didn't get like a perfect 4.0, I'd never go anywhere. Like having that like
That pressure.
yeah, all that pressure instilled like so much like depression in me. Like if I wouldn't meet like a certain standard, like I'd get so depressed and it would just get really bad. And then like just seeing how it affected like a lot of my other friends and stuff. And then experience like my sister on her 12th birthday, she tried to kill herself.
Wow.
So it was just like really open. Like she's just turned 12 years old, and like she's already having these feelings. And like working at the hospital, just seeing these kids in like grade school, like elementary school, like 1st to 5th grade, like already having these depressive, suicidal ideologies. Like it's just heartbreaking to see. And there's just a huge lack of help that they receive, because there's national shortages of like psychiatrists, and it's even worse when it comes into adolescence, which is what I want to go into, because you can wait months for just like an intake appointment for things. And like that's just disgusting. Like it shouldn't, like if someone has like a heart issue, you're not going to tell them, oh, just wait 6 months. Like this is something that like needs to be treated, because the sooner, like most things, the sooner you get to it and you start, you know, coping with it, like the better it'll be. And like if you just let it go, it'll just get worse and worse and manifest, and then they have toxic or lack of coping skills, and then they just end up in like these horrible paths, self-medicating and stuff, like drug use, and it's a horrible slope.
So you mentioned a lot of things that I've experienced myself. One being self-medication, trying to drink away depression, and that never worked. It would soothe my emotional distress for a few moments, but then I would go back into depression. And then you also mentioned suicidality, suicidal ideations, and I experienced that as well. But I'm curious, when you talk about depression or anxiety, what does that look like for you?
Like for me, like, you know, there's always going to be situations that are like, oh, I'm like sad, or like, you know, like general things like a death in the family. Like, you're going to be sad over that, and this might like cause like depression. And then like, you know, comorbid things like post-traumatic stress disorder also like plays into it. Like I'm personally like anxious around like tests and stuff. Like I'm always worried that like I'm not going to perform up to the standard that I need to like get through like my programs. And then I have like pretty bad episodic like depression, so there will be days that I'm just like so down in the dumps, like can't do anything, just want to stay in bed, like just walking around, like something happens, like I drop my pencil on the ground, I just start crying, like it's over, like just little things like that. And it's just like I've been able to cope with it a lot better, just from taking what I've learned from a lot of other people, like talking to other people with depression, talking to like counselors, working with like psychiatrists and stuff, psychiatric like nurses and stuff like that. And just so I've personally been able to manage it like a lot better. And I think that, you know, it's definitely extraordinarily difficult for a lot of people to find like that balance of what works for them. But once you find it, it's so rewarding, because, you know, overcoming something like depression, anxiety, like it's hard. Like you gotta hit rock bottom before you like can raise back up. And you know, I hit my rock bottom like multiple times, and like that's the thing about depression, like for some people like it doesn't go away and it'll keep coming back, but like it's about being like proactive about it instead of reactive, you know? Like having that situations in which be like, oh wow, like I'm starting to feel depressed, like what am I gonna do? Am I gonna just lay in bed and let it like engulf me? Or am I going to, I don't know, like call some friends over, or, you know, take like some deep breaths and like sort of try to cope with it? And, you know,
go exercise or something.
Exercise is an extraordinarily like helpful thing for it. Like that's one of my big things, like whenever I was going through a bad breakup, like I used exercise to get through. Like I lost nearly 100 pounds over one summer because I went to the gym hours every day. Because if I was at home, I was sulking, like that's all it was. But, you know, whenever I hit that gym, like, it took a hell of a lot to get there. But like once I got to that gym, like I was zooming.
And then once you finish too, you're like, that felt so good.
Yeah.
I feel good now.
Yeah, you get like, and you get like the good sort of pain, like the, I just worked out and my body's feeling, like you feel good pain.
Yeah.
So,
give me some preventative things that we can do for someone who probably has never experienced mental illness or never experienced that rock bottom, but we want to help them so that they never get there. Because I know, since I've struggled and you've struggled with your mental health, you know how important self-awareness is.
Yeah.
Like self-awareness is huge. I have to know when I'm feeling down, or if I don't, then I will perpetuate the way I'm feeling. So self-awareness is huge, but what are some preventative things that we can incorporate?
A huge thing that a lot of people neglect is self-care. You know, just little things like taking some time for yourself. Like as college students and like high school, in any situation, you know, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to, you know, live up to like this standard that's like sometimes like nearly impossible. And then like taking that time to care about yourself, and just like you exercise to take care of like your body, you need to like do things that really focus on like your mental health, such as like a thing that's really popular with kids, like just like coloring. Like a coloring book is so therapeutic.
Do you color?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even the adult coloring books, like they're pretty intricate, but you know, if that's like too much, just getting like a SpongeBob coloring book or something, and like just doing that, and it seems childish, but it's so like relieving and so relaxing, and like just taking that time to really focus on you. And you know, if something like a tragic event happens, like a death in the family, something as horrible as like a rape or something, or sexual assault, like keeping up with, you know, being proactive, as I said, like going to see a counselor, like working through it instead of letting it, you know, stuffing those emotions and letting it manifest, because stuffing those emotions only works for so long until like the volcano just erupts. Like that was my big thing, is that I was like, I'll put it off. I don't need to deal with this. And then, you know, like eventually a bunch of little things just started, you know, compiling, and it just blew up in my face. So just being proactive rather than reactive whenever like you have like these situations.
Last question. All right, so speaking to the younger generation and even the population that you specifically want to work with, there's a stigma when it comes to younger kids that there's no way that they can experience mental illness because they're not developed enough mentally. But the statistics show us like, hey, they are also completing suicide. They're also making attempts. They're also suffering, and parents just don't get it. So what is one thing that you would say, or a couple things that you would say, first to the young kid who's suffering and their parents just don't understand and they're not getting them the proper resources?
That's the most frustrating part.
And then to the parent.
Definitely that they're not alone. You know, these people get in these situations where like, this must be like, I must be the only one feeling this, but like there are so many other people out there that may not be going through the exact same thing as you, but they have at least some idea of where you're coming from. Like, you know, and another thing that people need to realize is that like, just because someone's situation may not be as bad as yours, like their hurt on the inside is still valid. Like, I think that is a huge thing that people overlook, that, you know, maybe the person who's like doesn't have a 4.0 in school and, you know, their dog just died, may be experiencing the same amount of like mental trauma as someone who may have just like lost a parent or someone close to them. Like, like they're two completely different events, and one may not be as like severe as the other, but it affects certain things affect people in different ways, and you don't know what that person's going through. So like, I think that people just need to be more understanding. And a word to parents is that like, I think they need to start taking this stuff seriously. Like, I know a lot of parents, like, just because they personally haven't struggled, or even if they have, like, they try to do what worked for them, but the healing process is different for everybody.
Yep.
And, you know, even though like mental health care is like it's unjustly expensive, like for inpatient, partial, stuff like that, but like getting the care that you need for your like, child, son, daughter, whatever, like it is so important that they get the resources that they need to succeed. Because it's like any other situation. If you don't give your child the tools that they need to succeed, they're gonna fail. And they're gonna revert back to how they were if they were getting better, or they're gonna get worse, or God forbid they die by suicide. And it's just like, I think that parents often overlook it as well. Like, oh, maybe it's just a phase. Maybe it's just this, maybe it's just that. But it's so important that they take it seriously and really care for their children, because like they're their babies. And you know, if little Susie is, you know, being sad and you don't do anything, like you may wake up one morning or come home from work and she might not be there anymore. And that's, you know, the really sad truth about it is that they just need to take it a lot seriously. I know some parents, like, shout out to like my mom, like she was so great about everything. Like I really just can't thank her enough for everything that she's done. And like, you know, yeah, my mom has just been great, and you know, we need more parents out there that, you know, support them through that no matter like what they're going through. My name is Logan Fox.
Yep.
I am from Lebanon Valley College in Pennsylvania, and I am a junior right now, and my major is neuroscience. But I'll soon switching that to psychiatric nursing.
Gotcha. Thanks, Logan.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.